You know, they're only posting their best 5 seconds. The lighting is perfect. The angle is picked. The bad ticks got deleted. You know all of that. So why does it still hurt? Here's the uncomfortable part. Knowing it's fake, it doesn't protect you from it. Your brain reacts to that photo first, before your logic even gets a vote. Stick with me for the next few minutes. By the end, you'll know exactly why this happens, and one real way to make it stop controlling you. Let's start with a scene you already know. You're lying in bed. It's almost midnight. You open Instagram for 1 second. 20 minutes later, you're staring at someone your age, on a beach you'll never visit, with a body you don't have, a life that looks finished while yours feels like it's barely started. You close the app. Something in your chest feels heavier than before you opened it. You didn't learn anything useful. You didn't laugh. You just feel worse than before. And you can't even explain why. Here's a question most people never ask themselves. If you know it's a highlight reel, why does it still work on you? The answer isn't weakness. It's something else entirely. It's wiring, and it's older than social media by a long shot. Your brain has a built-in system for measuring your own worth. It doesn't do this in isolation. It does it by comparison. This is called social comparison, and it's not a modern glitch, it's ancient survival code. Picture a small tribe, 50 people, everyone knowing everyone. Comparing yourself to them made sense. It told you exactly where you stood, who to learn from, who you could outrun, outhunt, outbuild. That comparison was local, small, and mostly accurate. Today, that same ancient system is pointed at a feed with millions of strangers. Your brain never got the memo that the rules changed. Here's the part that makes it worse. Those millions of strangers aren't showing you their average day. They're showing you their best possible moment, filtered, staged, sometimes outright fake. Your ancient brain doesn't know that. It just sees person, compares, and quietly tells you that you're losing. Quick gut check. How many photos does it usually take before someone posts the one? 10? 30? 100? You're comparing your unfiltered real-time life to somebody else's best pick out of 100 tries. Let's go a little deeper, because this isn't just about feeling insecure for a minute. There's a specific mental habit at play here, and it has a name. Upward social comparison. That's comparing yourself to people who seem better off than you, richer, happier, more attractive, more successful. Research on this has found something consistent. The more time people spend on upward comparisons, especially on social media, the more their mood drops, the lower their self-esteem gets, even when the content they're viewing is completely unremarkable to anyone else. Notice that word unremarkable. Most of what triggers this isn't even someone's biggest achievement. It's a random Tuesday photo, a gym selfie, a vacation nobody even remembers a year later, and it's still enough to wreck your mood for the rest of the night. Let me tell you about one night that made this painfully real for me. I opened my phone after a long day, tired, nothing special going on. Within 5 minutes, I'd seen 3 different people. They looked, from the outside, like they had life completely figured out. One had just gotten into a great university. One was on a trip I couldn't afford in 5 years. One just looked somehow effortlessly happy in every single photo. None of them said anything about me. None of them even knew I existed that night at all. But by the time I put the phone down, I felt behind. Not in one specific area. In general, like I was somehow losing at life itself, without being able to point to a single actual reason why. That feeling didn't come from facts. It came from my brain running its ancient tribe comparison software, running it on a feed of curated strangers, and losing every single round on purpose because the game was rigged before it even started. Here's something that might genuinely surprise you. Studies on heavy social media use have found a direct link to something researchers call FOMO, fear of missing out. And FOMO isn't just a cute internet term. It's measurably tied to lower life satisfaction and worse mood, especially in exactly your age range. Even stranger, the people posting the perfect content often feel this too. They're scrolling somebody else's feed, feeling behind, while you're scrolling theirs, feeling behind. Everyone's comparing their behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, and somehow everyone loses. So here's the real question. If your brain is wired to do this automatically, are you stuck feeling this way forever? No. And this is where it gets useful. One more thing worth naming before we get to the tools. There's a specific trap called the highlight reel gap. It's the exact distance between someone's real, boring, messy Tuesday and the 90 seconds of it they chose to post. That gap is never small. It's often the entire day, minus everything that made it normal. You never see the argument before the smiling photo. You never see the retake, the bad lighting version, the caption they deleted and rewrote 4 times. You only see the winner of that selection process. every single time. The first tool is something psychologists call comparison awareness. It sounds almost too simple, but it works because of exactly how automatic this process is. The moment you catch yourself comparing, say it out loud in your head. This is a comparison, not a fact. That single sentence interrupts the automatic spiral before it fully takes hold because you're naming the mental process instead of just living inside it. The second tool is a feed audit, and it takes about 10 minutes. Scroll through your following list. For every single account, ask one honest question. Does this make me feel worse after I see it? If the answer is yes, more than once, unfollow or mute it. You don't owe anyone your attention just because you followed them 2 years ago, for a reason you don't even remember. Here's a stat that might change how you think about doing this. Research on curated social feeds found something clear. Simply reducing exposure to appearance and lifestyle comparison content measurably improves mood within just a few weeks. No other changes required. You don't need therapy to start. You need your thumb and 10 unbothered minutes. The third tool is called specific gratitude, and it's not the vague poster quote version you're imagining. Vague gratitude doesn't work well. Specific gratitude does. Instead of, I'm grateful for my life, try, I'm grateful I finished that assignment even though I didn't want to. The specificity is what makes your brain actually register it as real instead of skimming past it like background noise. The fourth tool addresses something nobody talks about enough: the myth of the finished person. Everyone you're comparing yourself to is mid-story. You're only seeing one frame of a much longer movie, and you have no idea what's happening before or after that frame. That person who looks done with their life at 19 is not done. Nobody is done. You're comparing your unfinished chapter 1 to someone else's carefully chosen chapter 12. Here's a small but genuinely useful habit. Before you open any social app, ask yourself one question. What am I actually looking for right now? If the honest answer is I'm bored or I don't know, that's your signal. Boredom scrolling is exactly when comparison hits hardest, because your guard is completely down. I want to be honest with you about something important. These tools won't make comparison disappear completely. Your brain will keep doing this, at least a little, because it's built into how humans function. The goal was never zero comparison. The goal is catching it fast enough that it doesn't hijack your whole night. There's a real difference worth understanding here. Confidence isn't the absence of comparison. Confidence is noticing the comparison happening and choosing not to let it decide how you feel about yourself. One more tool, and this one's fast. It's called the 2-minute reality check. Right after you feel that comparison sting, set a mental timer for 2 minutes. In those 2 minutes, list 3 real things about your actual day. Not achievements, just real things. You woke up, you made a decision, you handled something small. This isn't about forcing fake positivity. It's about giving your brain real data to compete with the fake data it just consumed. 2 minutes is short enough that you'll actually do it, and that's exactly why it works. If you notice this feeling is showing up constantly, affecting your sleep, your friendships, or your motivation in a way that feels bigger than just a rough night scrolling, that's genuinely worth talking to someone about, like a counselor or therapist. There's no shame in that at all. These tools help with the everyday version of this. But they're not a replacement for real support if it's running deeper than that. Here's one thing to do the second this video ends. Open your following list. Find one account that consistently makes you feel worse. Unfollow it. Just one. That single small action does more than any amount of just don't compare yourself advice ever could. I want to ask you something before you go. What's one account or one type of content that reliably wrecks your mood when you see it? Drop it in the comments. No need to name names, just describe it. You'll probably see how many other people deal with the exact same thing. In the next video, we're covering something that ties directly into everything we just talked about. Why does your phone genuinely rewire how your brain seeks reward? And there's one 2-minute test you can do right now to see how deep that wiring already goes. If you made it to this point, that tells me you're someone looking for real answers, not shallow quick fixes. Hit subscribe because we're still just getting started on understanding how our own minds actually work. See you in the next video.